Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing out there, cupcakes? Welcome back to Twisted Core on a Sunday, and we are later time. And I would like to say a massive thank you for Jens joining us because it is stupid o'clock over there in Australia.
Yes.
How we doing, Jens?
Fun?
How we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm fantastic.
Yep. So for those of you out there watching, this is Jens. Jens owns the channel Mustang Koi. So, biggest question for me to start with, Jens, is you reluctantly installed a shower on your pond system. So now you've had said shower running. How are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. I have to say I like it. I don't know if it makes a huge difference to my pond. I will see that next year.
Yeah.
Because I have already quite a lot of filtration on the pond, as you know, the brush filter chambers, the moving bed, then the Japanese matting. So, but yeah, I just hope maybe a little bit more beneficial filtration, maybe a bit more clearer water at the end. Who knows?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And more feeding next year, maybe a bit more feeding.
Oh yeah, with the extra bio that you'll get on there, are you going to be planting any plants in it at all?
Not at this stage, because I'm afraid that the roots would be going too deep into the media, and then if you want to clean it or so, it's just be just a mess.
Are you pumping to your shower from your big multi-bay filter that you've got?
No. That's my only drama I have. That water comes from my skimmer. It's the skimmer line, and that goes in. It goes. Before I had this little pre-filter, but that was just a mess, and I took the pre-filter out, and it restricted the flow too. So I don't know if you remember the one episode where I changed it all, and I went from that normal 40 mil pipe to 70 mil.
Yep.
And it saved me about about 80 watts of power. Just increasing that pipe diameter.
Right, yeah.
And that's why I had to get rid of the pre-filter. So the water goes now straight into the shower and then into the, basically I tee it off. It comes into a tee. One side goes to the planter. What was the name? The bulk filter, basically. But Stubbs always called the bulk filter. A little bit goes in the bulk filter, and the majority goes over the shower. And so I have to put a sort of now I put Japanese matting over the media.
Yeah. So yeah, as long as you can access that bit of Japanese matting on the top, then evening, Raphael. Even Tony. Yeah, so if it's easy to access that Jap mat, because that is in effect is going to become your main mechanical filter for the filtration, isn't it?
Yes, for this skimmer area.
In knowing what I've experienced with the shower I've got in the Tosai tank and the shower that I've now got in the Frankenstein pond, the roots themselves don't really go in very far, especially with things like mind your own business and ferns, because ferns when you I've pulled 2 or 3 out of around the ponds down at the farm, and literally their root mass is very, very short, but it's very, very fine roots.
Okay.
So I've never had any problems with the media when I have had to strip the shower down.
Yeah, I see it. But everyone who has a shower, most people have mind your own business in there. So I guess it works pretty good. But yeah,
Ultimately, mind your own business is a weed. So
great. I'd like to know if I can get it here in Australia.
But you've got ferns in Australia, haven't you?
Pun?
You've got ferns in the plant.
Yes.
A fern. Well, I've found that they work really well in showers.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're easy to get here, ferns. So that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. But yeah, well, my plan for the winter is to not increase the shower size, but build myself like a fiberglass shower tier, a bit longer and a bit more skinnier, and
Yeah.
so it looks a bit better than have just boxes there. But that's my little hobby for the project for the winter. It's just in the shed.
Well, you say winter.
Got to have a lag.
What is your lowest temperature in winter?
Where we are here, the lowest can go below 0. So we had it once, every winter basically we get a couple of days where it goes into the -2. That's the max it will go to. But then during daytime it will go up into the mid-10s again. So we never have any freezing water.
That's better.
So, and water temperatures are hardly going below the 10 degree.
You got the easy life.
Nice.
You got the easy life. And I did notice a question in there from Scotty P. Quick question. Is there anything that can help with car parks? Yeah. Temperature. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how we doing, Raphael?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. Now you've embarked on a new side of koi keeping now, haven't you? So you've installed an air source heat pump. How are you finding it?
Oh yeah. It's hide over here. So it's going the mini air source heat pump is taking the air from inside because I have like covered like a greenhouse.
Yep.
So is advantage of that temperature. So right now inside here is 16 degrees. So how much is it? Oh, 15 degrees. So the air is going out, like you said to me. So I put it to going outside.
Yep.
And the first 2 days, I have to go. Probably 3 days, I have to play with the flow to see to work on with the air source heat pump, and it wasn't that efficient first, but now it's working properly. Now it's working nicely, and I have to use it 1400 degrees, 1400 liters per hour. So it's 1400 liters per hour. So it's working fine now.
So a nice slow flow through it then.
Yeah, so now it's at 15 degrees the water temperature. So probably in at the end of this month, I'm going to rise around like 2 degrees more. So I just keep playing with that. So let's see.
And have you noticed a major difference in the way the fish are acting?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Because I can feed them more now. I can feed them more, and they're more active.
Yeah.
And I have to be waiting. Well, like I said to you guys on my videos, I was saying that the worst part of my pond is the position of my house. So my house, the garden is in the it doesn't have the sun doesn't hit all the time. It's just only 3 hours a day, so it's not good for temperature. But that's what it is, and now I think I'm going to enjoy more the hobby now because I can give you more food to the fish and I can see them more active.
Yeah. How we doing, Chris?
How's it going? All right, guys?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Good.
So,
good.
any of you guys sat here got any questions for our Jens from Mustang Koi Australia? Go on, put him on the hot seat.
I said to him, I'm jealous because he has so much space. He can do so much there.
Yeah.
How'd you
And
control
now
it?
he say about the temperature, more jealous.
just missing water and power or money.
Yeah.
If I had the money, yes, I would probably have the entire block, 5 acres full of ponds.
So in Oz, Jens, have you got your own breeders there, or do you have to import them? And how difficult is it to import into Oz? Because they don't like animals imported to to Australia. You can't, can you?
Koi, hang on. Oh, that's too. Sorry. That's TV. Koi are classified as a pest here in Australia. Basically, because they are carp, we can't import them at all. It's completely banned here. So we're only breeding ourselves from what we got in. Yeah, the stock we got in, I think, in the 60s to the 80s before they banned them.
All right.
So yeah, and there's only Western Australia and New South Wales and the Canberra, the Australian capital. They're the only 3 states where we're allowed to have kois.
Mental, innit?
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't
So
know that.
it is
Not exactly a fish that does much harm, is it?
Well,
No, I could see what they're doing because koi carp is a carp, and as we know, around the world, Asian carp have got into water systems and literally just taken over.
Yeah,
So
done that in America.
what they've done is
Always.
it's a carp. No, which
but the main problem here in Australia is more that I don't know how long ago it was when European settlers imported actually the European carp. They imported and released it into the waterways to have a fish to fish, basically a European fish, and that is where the drama is starting. The koi carp itself has not really caused the infestation here.
So, between the enthusiasts, you actually breed the varieties you're after, do you, or how do you get on?
Yes, we breed them all ourselves here. We don't have the varieties that you have, so we're quite limited what we can get here.
So, do you have koi shows?
Yes. We got here in
you had one recently, didn't you?
Pardon?
You had one recently, didn't you?
That was a koi auction. That we have every 3 months roughly we have a koi auction here in WA. But next month in May we have the koi show happening. But compared to yours, ours is tiny. So, I will record it and I will show you on a video.
Yeah, that'd be great. But when you say tiny, are you doing it like they do in Thailand, where it's done in bags, or is it done in vats like we do over here? And they do.
The probably setup is a bit similar to what you have. They're in big vats, blue container vats, with air and everything supplied, but it's in a much smaller scale. So we have only maybe 30 vats on the premise, and maybe a couple dealers, pond dealers.
Yeah.
So it's not huge. I mean, I don't know this one. We changed the locality, so maybe it's this time a little bit bigger, but I doubt it.
So, would you say that?
Do you guys see jumbo kois there?
Yeah, we got them here too. So
yeah,
up to a meter. Some of them are
all right.
Shame is you never can film them. The size never comes across on the videos or on the photos. That's a shame.
This is true.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, how do, Aaron? You got any questions for our Jens since you're new in?
Sorry?
Can't hear you, Aaron.
You're muted, Aaron.
Come on, you're supposed to be the tech guru.
How do you control the temperatures in the summer?
I take it that's a question for Jens, is it?
Yeah.
Jens?
Yeah?
Chris is asking, how do you contend with the temperatures in the summer?
How we can? You mean the high temperatures?
Yeah, with the pond.
I put a sunshade cloth over, because if I don't have a shade over the pond, it easily goes up to it can go up to 30 degrees in the pond if I don't give it a little bit shade. So with the shade cloth, I'm ranging about 25 degrees in summer.
Oh.
But with all the cloth, it goes extremely high. So my grow-on pond, for an example, this year, because I painted the black, the back wall of the filter black, I had actually temperatures of 28 degrees in there for a couple days. And it got into the 40s here.
Jeez.
So
And what's your low temperatures?
I was a bit concerned about that temperature.
And what are your low temperatures then?
The lowest I had ever had was 8 degrees. That was the lowest, and that's only for maybe a couple of days. Usually it's somewhere in the 10 to 12 degree range.
If only, innit? If only.
I was in my pond at 8 degrees a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, I know that. Now. I've done that once.
What was that? You jumped in and your balls jumped out.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they disappeared. Had to pop them back out.
So,
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Fire away.
Oh no, I'm just saying that I've just been in man accidentally.
Oh, you fell into yours, did you?
I dropped my best pair of grips as I was tightening something, and they're like a 30 quid backhoe set, so I was going in after them.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to say you need to take more water with it, Aaron, but
Do you know what? Do you know what it was as well? It was like 5:25.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, I'm going to be late. That's why my mic wasn't plugged in or out like that. I was just like, for God's sake. And my dad was like, well, I'm off then. And I was trying to get it with a net, and every time I got it, it just flipped over the other way.
So you thought, fuck it, you went in and got it.
Yeah, I just went head first in it and just tried to pull my sleeves up. And it didn't work very well.
So you haven't come out of the bath, you just come out of the pond.
I bought recently a DeWalt what do they call them? Drivers.
Impact driver.
Impact driver. That's it, an impact driver. And when I was building my grow-ons, I sort of put it on the edge, and I turned round and knocked that in. And brand new impact driver, but I was more concerned that the screwdriver bit hadn't gone through the liner at the bottom than the impact driver, to be honest.
Is it still working?
Yeah, I got it out and I just left it alone and let it dry.
My impact driver has been in my sump. It's been in my toe side tank. The impact driver itself works, but the battery was fucked as soon as I pulled it out.
Mine was okay. My battery's okay, but it's all okay. Just let it dry naturally. But yeah, as I say, I was more concerned that it punctured my liner.
Yeah,
but it hadn't, thankfully.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about with the screws that I dropped in. I was building that back wall, and I dropped 200mm screws in. I was like, oh no. I tried netting them out, and they just kept on popping out the net and falling back out. And I was like, I'm gonna have to get in.
Get yourself a little magnet on the end of a broom handle.
Someone actually put a comment on the video saying I've got a magnet for that reason. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got
one
a bit of
question.
engineer plate.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is it? I see a lot of people have well, I do have a retro bottom drain in my pond, but I see a lot of people have problem with the bottom drain aeration one is coming and stop up. Is this that's normal, or there's no way to glue it? I don't know, because I don't have a bottom drain.
They're fresh, aren't they?
It depends on the bottom drain. It all depends on the bottom drain, and most bottom drains that have got a rubber diffuser as the air part of the dome, they usually screw in.
Screw on,
usually have a fitting inside the center of the bottom drain that then connects to a bit of inch pipe that follows out next to the 4-inch pipe as well.
Yeah.
And then you screw.
Mine isn't a screw on though, and it popped off. And back in my collection of videos somewhere, I got my son-in-law going down and putting it back on. But I used a little bit of that black mastic stuff. What is it called?
Yeah.
CD1 or something. Yeah,
right.
I just used some of that underwater to glue the. I mean, it doesn't permanently glue. That's the thing, but it will hold it, and it's held it brilliantly since it's been done.
I think the problems that people have had with the screwing one is not the actual thread itself. I know I spoke to Scrags not so long back.
Yeah,
because
I've snapped on it twice.
Well, no, so his thread has come off the shaft.
Yeah.
So the thread bit, the metal collar that's on the end of it, has actually just come off and was still in the bottom drain. So he said to me, if you're going to get one of them, make sure you glue the thread on, so that doesn't happen.
I know Simon up North Koi Pond. I'm sure his thread snapped.
Yeah.
So I've just got the Cockney Koi one, the normal 110mm Cockney Koi, but I've got a weighted air diffuser ring, which has got a hose, got the pipe that runs into my shed, and I just sit it on the top of the bottom drain, and every now and then one of the fish slide it out just enough so that some of the air can get underneath the dome, and then it starts lifting it. And it lasted 18 months, and then come winter, it's popped off, and I've had to get in there to put it back on again. That was my short video I did a couple of weeks back. Yeah, very nice.
And Jay and Kaz makes a good point there. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Magnets don't work on stainless steel screws.
No.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know that one from experience.
I don't actually use the air on my bottom drain. The only time I put the air on my bottom drain usually is if I'm going to PP the pond for extra air. But other than that, I don't use it. Can't see the fish with it.
I agree.
Exactly, Tony.
Yeah,
you know what I've been playing with recently? An electronic switch, so I can turn the air off on the bottom drain of the pond when I walk by the filter house, just having a light switch just with a solenoid valve in it, so I can literally walk by the pond and press it, see the fish real nice, and then when I walk away I can turn the air on.
Well, what I do if the temperatures start getting a bit high in the summer, I put a timer on it so that it comes on at night. Really comes on at sort of 8 o'clock at night and goes off at 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning. You know,
yeah.
So
for me, it was for people I don't trust to be underneath the filters turning air valves. So I thought if I put a light switch style outside socket on it, so they can just turn it off, then they can't knock the air off to any of the filters then by going.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Mine's quite complex.
Which, to
I
be
want
fair,
to do a timer on my aeration system.
You had a timer on yours.
Yeah, I want to. That's something I'm probably going to do. I saw a smart plug. You can put a like timer there. So that's what I
Yep.
want to do because um, if I don't turn on my aeration system, uh, I will find some bit or crap on the side of the plant. Even if I get the flow, because it's a retro bottom drain, and I think
Yep.
with retro bottom drain you need to have aeration. So I normally leave it on night for a few hours, and then it's fine. So I want to put it like a timer when like few hours a day, so I can get all the crap inside the filter.
Yeah.
Do you run 2 separate pumps to do that then?
I'm sorry?
Do you run 2 separate pumps to do that then?
Oh, at the moment I do have 3. I do have
Because
3.
the way
So
that I was doing it, a solenoid valve, it just goes in the same clear plastic airline as what you would use in a filter. So, like, my air pump's big enough to run the drain and the filter. So all that does is open and close that valve. You can put an inline smart plug on that rather than turning a full pump on. I'm trying to be efficient.
Yeah. The only thing is you mean the air pump? I thought no, I do have a I thought you're talking about the water pumps. No.
Yeah, so what if you're putting your air pump on a timer?
Yeah.
What's going to happen with your moving bed when you're
I don't have any moving bed.
Right, okay, fair play.
Oh yeah, I do have a easy pod with tempers.
Right.
It's
a simple smart plug would do
smart
plug would do the trick for that then. But that's what I was trying to do. It was either run two pumps, one for the bottom drain, or buy one of these solenoid valves. And to be fair, it's working an absolute treat.
Yeah,
I actually run 3 pumps. I run 3 air pumps. I've got one for the bottom drain, one for the moving bed, and one for 2 air stones.
You must be minted, Tony.
But
they're all low wattage.
Couldn't you just consolidate that down to one air pump and then split it out? Surely that would be more economical for you in the long run.
For me, I could get rid of one of them straight away anyway, but as I say, the bottom drain isn't hardly ever on, so
because you've also how many air pumps you've got set up for your growing on tanks. I know you've got 2 growing on tanks, 1 quarantine tank. So
yeah, I've got I got an air pump on each of them separate. But at the end of the day, if you get an air pump go wrong and you've only got the one,
but
it's always nice.
That's the point. Yeah.
I've got 2. I've got a 120 that runs my Nexus, and I've got a splitter, and I can split it and turn it to the bottom if I want to. But most of the time, I have it just on the Nexus. But I've also got an AirTech 130 and a crappy old Blagdon one that I've got in there for emergencies, just in case.
You're not running an aerated bottom drain, are you, Jens?
Yes, I do. I have both. I have 2 bottom drains, both are aerated, but the one in the middle I don't use anymore because I couldn't see the fish, so I turned that one off. And during the summer, I run the back aerated bottom drain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have, like Tony, I have 3 air pumps running. In winter, it will be only 2, but in summer, it's 3. And I prefer to have 2 air pumps on 2 separate circuit breakers, just in case one power circuit trips. I have still 1 air pump running and 1 normal pump. So basically, I have 2 circuit breakers, 2 pumps, water pumps, and 2 air pumps. on different circuit breakers, just in case something gets tripped.
I suppose with the temps that you could get, if you lose air, it can go wrong real fast, can't it? I mean, I think the hottest my pond got to last year was like 19. If it lost air while I got home from work, it wouldn't really be a massive issue. That,
yeah.
But if you guys are getting up to 30 degrees, you lose all air and pumps, it's going to go sideways fast, isn't it?
That's correct. That's what I actually thought about, installing pure oxygen aeration on it for the emergency. As soon you lose power, you have a solenoid valve opens and releases oxygen from the bottle.
Do you know what we've been playing with? Not for that. I did it for a video quite a while back. My dad's got a solarless battery backup for his caravan.
Yeah.
And you plug your 3 plugs into it and that into the mains. And if it ever trips out, then that'll do. I can't remember what it was. It was because ponds are the low watts compared to kettles and stuff like that they're designed for. So it would power a pond for a considerable amount of time, to be fair. And we were just using it to see how much electric stuff used, because the amount of stuff that we found that stated it used so much on the packet, but it used more, was quite a.
Yeah, I see.
There was one brand particular that I'm not going to name and shame on a live, but there was one brand particular that every product used more than what was written on it.
Are we talking about even the small quote?
I am not talking about anything. If you go back and watch the videos, it's all written down.
Yeah. My air pump that's in there, there's 100. That's the 120, but it's not the Evolution Aqua one. It's can't remember what it is now. I won't mention it, but it's it's supposed to be 60 watts, but I checked it and it's 75.
Oi.
It's a big difference.
That's a big difference, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I think
Well,
I was moving
Evolution
water
Aqua
from a
is
filter pump. I was moving 10,000 litres, so 50% of a 20k pump on an EA one was costing me 140 watts, and 50, and the same on a Superfish one cost me something like 75 watts. So there's a big difference. If they're on all the time, it's worth, when you're looking at them, looking at ones that are a bit more efficient. And as soon as I realised that,
the other thing is I've got 2 pumps, 2 different makes. I've got an EA and a Seiko, and they both pump the same literage. If the pipe was the same length and it was straight out, but they don't pump to the same depth. And I have to say, the EA will not pump my bottom drain, whereas the Seiko pumps it easy. Same literage.
Yours is low though, isn't it, Tony? As in,
yeah,
you've got a massive head height on your pond.
Yeah.
Well, how deep are you? 7 foot deep?
7'6", yeah.
Fucking mental.
How'd you catch fish?
How'd you catch them?
Yeah.
Very difficult.
with great difficulty, but I got the biggest net I could find. So that makes it a bit easier, actually. Well, I haven't got a seine net, but I thought about it. I thought about getting a seine net.
So he doesn't catch his fish, he just puts more in.
Yeah.
Well, one of the main
Well, not so bad now. It was thinned out a bit last year, unfortunately.
Go on, Vince?
Yeah, mate.
How did you find Matt's place?
It's lovely. Wonderful surroundings, beautiful countryside all around, and wow, some of his neighbours must be multi-millionaires, I would think, but his place is great, and he's got some beautiful animals there. I mean, he had black sheep and white sheep and ducks and peacocks, and you
So
name
don't
it.
forget his peacocks. He loves his peacocks.
Jeez, yeah. But is the fish he brought back from Japan, the ones that I've seen, because he's got some at Rick's, but the ones that he's got back there, they were popping. Beautiful fish, absolutely beautiful.
I can say with hand on heart that I've seen the ones that are at Rick's, and oh my fucking God, honest to God, I have never seen Yamabuki Ogon like it. I mean, we are talking booming. We're proper golden yellow, but every single one is Ginrin.
Nice, unusual.
Not very often you come across Ginrin Yamabuki.
I got one.
You sure it's not a cheeky monkey?
No, it's a Yamabuki. I think it was from the same farm that Matt got his from. But I got it from one of your places, Vince. You go to
Bracknell World Water.
Yeah, Dan.
Was he there when you went? Was he?
He was. Yeah. I
Good
got
lad.
a Wagoi one and a Ginrin one.
Nice. What size were they?
Not that big, but they've grown a lot in just a few weeks. I think they must have been about 17, 18 cm. And I reckon they must be 24, 25 cm now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really putting it on quick.
Nice.
Yeah, really good.
Your favourite variety then, Jens, and why?
Oh, honestly, I could probably the Showas would be, but I couldn't say why. I just like them. But I wouldn't say I have a really super favorite one. I like them all almost. So yeah, it's hard to tell.
So the fish in the growing on setup are doing well. So what are the plans with those? Are you going to auction them, or are you going to sell them?
Probably will sell them, most of them. I will only keep the really nice ones back and grow them on. But the next few auctions, I won't sell most of them off yet. And then make room for another spawning, probably in 2 years' time, when I have a proper spawning setup.
Yeah. And will that be you concentrating on breeding your own shower, or is it just something that you enjoy doing to keep yourself busy? Is there an end goal?
Probably more keeping me busy. Maybe yes, getting some very special ones. Getting more in the direction of like the shower, yes. But it's mainly more keeping myself busy. I enjoy. For me, it's just an enjoyable hobby. I love it. So yeah, just doing a bit breeding on this, and then see what's happening. What kind of qualities I can get out of it.
Yeah, but because you are restricted in some ways because you work away, don't you, from home?
Yes, I'm away from home for a week each time. So 1 week away, 1 week home. So yeah.
So the wife knows how to run the system.
Pardon?
So the wife knows how to run the system.
To a certain degree, yes. It's all my. That's why I try to keep it as simple as possible, because you only have to flick a few circuit breakers and switches. That's why I don't have a drum filter. I looked into it. I like the concept of a drum filter, but it's too much. Yeah, too much technology in there that could go wrong. Yeah. and the price.
Does she get enjoyment out the koi as much as you do, or is it a case of it's your hobby?
I'd say it's more my hobby. She enjoys the koi, she enjoys the fish, but yeah, she's not into it like I am. She has she's into her ducks, where I don't have any. She breeds her ducks, and I have nothing to do with them except for cleaning it up. Cleaning up and building.
Yeah, I get that with chicken.
Yeah. So
what's it? Is anyone using the Cactoily pond monitor? Is it any good? Yes, it is. I gave mine to Dave, but that was purely because I did the unboxing and the testing of it, and then I don't usually test my water anyway, so mine is now running in Rocket Boy's filter house. As far as I'm aware, it's running like a charm. So yes.
If you salt your pond, they're not worth having.
oh,
I've got one on my desk here. Right. I've had so many false readings this week where I've been and bought my Medicart pen to do it again, and that was reading 0.68. And I've calibrated it 3 times. And the Medipen, I even went and took a mug of water to someone else's house to check that my Medipen was reading right, that it wasn't that was giving me the false reading. If you have too high watts plugs, they fluctuate massively. So if you have a 1 amp charging plug,
yeah, I was
in all honesty, like I've tested loads of things, and how often you have to calibrate it and stuff like that. There's been so many times that I've checked up on it, and even today, like I'm looking at what it says, the TDS is, and I know that it's absolutely a bus ride out. I know it's not that, but
which one you have? Sorry, man. It's the blue one.
Which one? This one.
Cactoily.
No, I do have the I think it's called Blue Guardian.
Yeah, the Blue Labs one.
Yeah, I got that one, but I break the pH tester. I need to buy a new one. So
all I use is a salt tester. I don't use anything else.
No, it's so fun.
Yeah.
But it's been 3 years, huh? I break it when I was doing the rebuild because I hit it, and I know when I hit it, that thing didn't go well again. I tried to calibrate, but no.
Why?
What's Chris why for? Does he want me to sing?
Yeah, I think so. I did mention turning him round just now. I don't think he's saying why to only have an assault meter. Yeah, but that's all I got is a salt meter.
No. When I was doing the unboxing and the initial testing of the Cactoily, I was getting fluctuations. When I got in touch with them, they turned around and said that I had to use the converter plugs that came with it. And when I went back, because I used a double plug socket that's got 2 USB doobies in it, and I was getting fluctuating readings. As soon as I plugged their plugs in, the fluctuations literally stopped. But then a few weeks later, I then took it out and gave it to Rocket Boy. So that's about all I can tell you. Hi, anyone Now, anything about air source heat pumps? My hose to shut and stop when.
What's wrong with these?
I'm colourblind.
That's all you need.
Exactly.
I can't see the colour of them, Chris. I'm colourblind.
You're Sparky, ain't you?
I can't. Honestly, I'm not joking. Yeah, I'm being deadly serious.
He is being deadly serious.
The amount of times I video call people when I think something's not right and there's no one in my house. Like, so when I got given that, I thought this is sick, right? Because it might help me out. But the amount of times it's given me false readings where I've gone, that pH in 9.
Andy is asking about an air source heat pump. Now, I know on my air source heat pump, its default setting, once it gets to temperature, it has to drop 2 degrees before it kicks back in. But if you go into the settings, you can set it to 1 degree, which is what I've got it set at.
Though, isn't it?
Yeah, mine's set at 1 degree, but it switches itself off, and I don't know how to program the fucker. So every 24 hours, I have to go down and switch the fucking thing back on again.
Isn't that a remora, though, that's giving those fluctuations, letting it drop down too far before it comes back up again?
No, mine's a Hydro Pro.
I know
these mini air source heat pumps have the defrost thing, and it's coming on automatic. And I don't know what temperature, but it's coming on automatic.
But mine just drops 1 degree and comes back on.
Yeah.
But the default, I think, and it might be on quite a lot of them, but on the one I've got, its default is 2 degrees. So you have to go into the settings and change it.
I know Andy Rowbottom, he's got that new channel that came out a couple of months back.
Yeah.
He got a remora, 7 kilowatt, I think it was, and that was dropping like 4 degrees. And it weren't coming back on, and then all of a sudden it would whack it right back up to where he wanted it to go, and then it would drop off. So he was always having this 4 degree fluctuation, and he spoke to Remora directly, and there was something that he could do in the system, like in the system settings. He had to muck about with them and stuff. And he sorted it out now. But yeah, he did a video on it about 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. Yeah.
You see, you've got there's two different types. There's 2 heat pumps. You've got one that just switch on, and then you've got ones that soft start. I don't know the technical words for it, but mine does it. It will come on for about 2 or 3 minutes. It will then go off, and then about a minute later, it will then kick in, but it will kick in full speed then until it then turns off. But it drops 1 degree below the set temperature, and yeah, it will kick on, and it don't turn off until it's 1 degree above the set temperature.
Yeah. Is it yours? You can use the app with yours. Vincent.
I've been told that I can, but I tried and failed. So I just keep going down and switching the fucker back on when it goes off.
I called the company where I bought this mini air source heat pump, and I said, I just asking, is any app about this one mini air source heat pump? He said, sorry, no. And after that, I was thinking, well, I just only paid £300. What expect to be with app or anything like that, because it's very cheap, and it's cheap to run, huh? Because it's 480 watts every time it's running.
Yeah,
I don't think it's too much.
A lot of the mini ones, though, if you use them in the winter, they will not operate below 15 degrees C.
Yeah, but he's enclosed, so
He's and this one say -7, but I don't think I'm going to be using it on winter, because it's only a setup of 15 degrees. So if I put it 15 degrees, that thing going to be working all day.
And he chucks his balls on his pond anyway.
I chucked my balls in the pond the other week.
No, Raphael uses the pond balls.
Oh yeah, the pond balls. I will put it. Yeah, I have it on the roof now. It's a funny thing because first when they come in the box.
Yeah.
All right, so if you see that box is not too big, and when I take it out, I don't know, they get big. Now I have a bag, a huge bag on top of my roof. So
Like huge balls.
huge box. I will show you.
Oh no, he's not going to show us his balls, is he?
You're going to see my balls.
Tony flapped then.
That's huge. That's double the size of the. That's double the size of the box.
When he stood up, I thought the belt was getting undone.
Yes, Gav, you are right. It's an inverter air source heat pump that's got like a slow start on it, which also, from what I can make out, it stops that initial big surge of power being taken from the heat pump itself, which is a good thing because the whole back garden is run on 113 amp plug in the kitchen.
Wow, Vince. I think we've had this conversation before about the wattage of your 13 amp plug.
Mate, yeah, but honestly, the whole back garden runs on a 13 amp plug in my kitchen.
Crazy.
Do you know what that sounds like to me, Vince? I'll tell you what that sounds like. That sounds like house fire.
Mate, I had a thing pop up on my Google Photos earlier on. 9 years ago today, me and my best mate were putting the first pond together. So 9 years I've been running everything in my back garden on a 13 amp plug in the kitchen.
I mean, there's not many amps to the stuff that you've got in, but there is a reason. There is a reason though why when you buy like a 50-meter extension lead, it only has 4 plugs on it. Not like how many. I mean, I'd hate to guess how many plugs you've got in that filter house, and have something as power greedy as an air source heat pump in it as well.
There you go.
He's adding it all up.
About 9 or 10 things. Maybe more, because I haven't thought. I've got the lighting as well on timers. In fact, I've got two. You've got the one light above the grown on tank, and then you've got the one light above the grown on tank on the ceiling. Now, that one comes on first, and then a couple of hours later, the one above the tank comes on, and then when I get up and I go down, I then turn the third light on, which runs in the middle of the long block. So you've got 3 LED strip lights.
What was the cable that you used? Was it an extension lead?
No, I made sure it was a big fucking chunky 3-core cable.
Right. Okay.
I
didn't know whether you just wound an extension lead down and just cut the reel off it.
No, I did that once before. Mate, honestly, when I ripped the floor up of what was my porch, and we looked at the cable that was originally running down there from the kitchen plug, and I think we found 3 joins in it, all with chocolate block, untaped, underneath the floor, going down to the shed.
Sounds like me. Years ago, I had my shed connected with one extension lead too. It was pretty adventurous. Till my
I think
wife
everybody's done it, haven't they? At some point.
Yes.
You can cut me some of that chocolate cake if you fancy it.
But you think the SOS heat pump I've got, for every 1.3 kilowatts it draws, it creates 7.3 kilowatts of heat. But when you think about it, the length of time my SOS heat pump's on is no different really to boiling the kettle with a 3 kilowatt kettle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the when I first built this pond. I put a the Signet 3 kilowatt inline on it, and it was on about 6 weeks. And I took it off straight away. I was like, no, I see the electric bills. And no, it's coming off. So I just put a bit of pipe in there and just got rid of it.
But no, honestly, with the fact that the whole of the inside of the shed is insulated, I've got an inch of polystyrene around the inside of the tank itself. The filters are all lagged, the pipe work's all lagged. So yeah, when the SOS heat pump comes on for that tank, the only time it's on for longer than 10-15 minutes is after I've done a major filter clean and I've dropped a big chunk of water out of it, and then it's on for about 20-30 minutes. But when it usually comes on, say through the evening, it's on for no longer than 10-15 minutes, and it's brought that temperature back up that degree. And
yeah,
for me, it's been invaluable, because I used to run my grown on tank on fish tank heaters, and I used to have about 5 fish tank heaters in that one system, and my electric meter used to spin around like a motherfucker, and I would struggle in the winter to maintain 18 degrees. And yet through the winter, I've been able to maintain 24 degrees at not even a third of the cost that it would have cost me last year. But what gets me the most is I turn around to the one bloke who should know how to program the SOS heat pump, because it used to belong to him. And I looked at Rick and I said, how do I sort this out? Are you showing this? And he looked at me square in the eye and he went, how the fuck should I know? I just turn it on and turn it off. But yeah, they are a good bit of kit. Now, if I was heating the main pond, now that'd be a completely different matter. It swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. So, any plans for anyone getting any new fish?
Mate, I've got 3 or 4 down the farm still yet to be home.
I am going to pick it up. Few fish, red karagoshigoi and asagi at the end of, not at the end of this month. I think the first week of next month.
Yeah. What
is that your one from your Japan trip?
Hey, that's the one I showed you, Vincent.
Yeah.
Remember the asagi? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's gonna look nice in your phone.
I cannot wait to see that fish.
Your
so
red,
come on.
the red karashi. What breed have you got that from?
Oh, I am terrible with name, man. I'm terrible. they told me the name, and I always forget. I can tell you one thing. I only remember NND because I was there 3 days when I was in Japan. I
Yeah,
cannot
and
remember the other rice.
they were really good to Ica, weren't they?
To Ica, yeah,
Yeah.
they were wonderful, wonderful, very good people, very friendly.
See, I got Marahiro Red Karashi in there. It's got a couple of shimmies on it now, but last year I got it in this eye in March. It was 37 cm, and it's now 56.
Nice.
Grew like an absolute beast. I think it's a male, but it developed it's got a shimmy on the tail.
Yeah. I got
2 or 3 small shimmies elsewhere, but other than that, it's scale perfect. It would have been absolutely sweet, but yeah, I noticed the shimmies a couple of weeks back, and I was like,
yeah. Kashi gave me a Sakai Super Mango Karashigoi, and I got a fucking beautiful body frame on it, but two tiny little fucking shimmies.
Does anyone know what causes them?
Some say
I heard they say something about even probably the water quality can change them.
It could be. I mean, I've got extremely hard water. My my KH is 18 out of tap.
Yeah.
But not just that. My pond is in direct sunlight from about 9 o'clock in the morning until about 6 o'clock in the evening in the summer. And I think it's probably that. To be fair, it's probably the sunshine and a mix of that and extremely hard water. I've never been able to keep goshki in there because they just turn into magoi basically. But I've got 3 in there this year. I've got 3 little ones like that, and I just wanted to see what they might do. But yeah,
see and silica content plays a big factor in sumi. That's one thing I have learned from Rick. It's one of the reasons why what clay is it? Bacto plus clay. You'll find that is actually mixed in with his Munga mix, and that's because of the silica content in it helps with the sumi.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't know what's in the Aqua Utopia detox, but since I've been using that, I will do a review on it at some point. But I've been using that for about a month and a bit, and sumi's coming up quite well on quite a few big fish. My Black Zeus is coming up quite well. There's a little Shiro I got, and that's just exploded in sumi. I only got it. Well, I put that video out about 2 weeks ago, and the sumi's it's exploded.
See, every person I've spoke to that's using that complete pond detox, I've asked them, what is it about the pond that's changed since you've used it?
I think skin quality for me, and where I'm not using the dechlorinator anymore. My dechlorinator run out, and I couldn't be bothered to go and buy one. So I thought I'd try this. I put that in before I do a water change, and it gets rid of the chlorine straight away. But I think appetite and skin.
But have you tested a few hours after treating with the complete pond detox to see if there's any chlorine in the pond?
Yeah, nothing, absolutely zero. I can test my iron. Say if I've got the iron test. If I test my iron when I've done a refill, it'll be not through the roof, but there's quite a high level. And then if I put that detox in it, it disappears.
For me, I using it for more than a month, and well, I cannot say the fish are more active or anything like that. But it's the nitrate. It goes like zero. That's the only thing I can tell you. I don't see any skin quality, anything like that, because they're healthy, but
Yeah, everyone grumbles about having nitrate readings, and
I don't test for nitrate.
I've never,
but
you know,
it's not big. I'm telling you, it's just like always you find a little bit.
Yeah.
That's when I test it, and when I start
which
using
is
this thing, it's like not completely gone, but you can see it go lower. In my
yeah.
opinion, it's my punt, and I don't know how the other punts.
But at the same time, having a nitrate reading of any kind is a true indication that your filtration is working correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if you have zero nitrates being created, then something is wrong along the way.
Yeah.
Can
yeah,
you see what I
yeah.
mean?
But it's not zero. It's just I see it's a little bit lower. I was going to ask you one thing, guys. How much food do you manage to give it to the fish on summer?
In the
Normally, I don't
summer,
know.
well, last year I was feeding 4 kilos a week, but that wouldn't go any higher than that because I kept on getting like nitrite issues and stuff. But yeah, in the summer I was doing 4 kilos a week. At the minute, I'm doing 140 grams a day.
I
Oh,
wouldn't know. I don't weigh it.
that's a lot, man.
But that's
Nice,
only
because you have
I'm
a Nexus, no? You have a
I'm,
Nexus, yeah.
I've got a Nexus 220, but I've got 240 liters of K1 and K3 in it.
Nice, nice.
So
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
wake the filters up. So I started with about 60 grams per day, and then I got all them smaller fish in. So I upped it to 80. So they were having 20, and the main part of the pond was having 60. And then I upped it again, and now the main part of the pond's having, there's 24 fish in there. The main part of the pond's having 100 grams, and the tow are all having 40 grams.
Right. Now, my question is, do you know the weight of your fish?
No. I probably am
Then
under
what-
that 10.
Then the next question is, why are you weighing your food?
Just, I don't know, to be fair. I just
Because, and the reason I say that is because at certain temperatures, their bodies metabolize food differently.
Yeah.
So, you know, depending on what temperature you're at, depends on how much that they will physically take in if all the conditions are right.
Yeah.
So, unless you know the weight of your fish, I think weighing food is pointless. Your fish should tell you
How much
how
they
much
want.
they need.
Do you know, I agree to that to a certain extent, but I know, like, I had my feeder set to say 2. That was an even number. Now, I can't remember how many it was. I think it was like 20 grams per second. Now, I didn't increase it for grams wise. I increased it seconds and let the filter spike, let it cope with it, and then do it again. But I knew that every time I was doing it, that I was adding another 20 grams.
Yeah.
But I was never thinking, oh, I'm weighing that for that reason. I was doing it so it was an even number that I could calculate in my head, that when the fish became more active, I could just press another second on it and do it that way.
Yeah.
But obviously, the fish was telling me that they wanted more food, so I was doing it until the filter could cope with the amount that was going in.
Yeah. I was sort of just judging it on how much waste I was getting with in the filter, how often I was having to sort it out. So if I was having to do it too often, I'll just cut down off the feed. Even the fish, I could probably put 100 grams in one. I've got that tub there that I've turned my my feeder off at the minute. I'm using that tub. I weigh what's in there, I'd probably tip that whole 100 grams in one sitting and I'd eat it all. But then I'd be in a world of pain with the Nexus being clogged up with crap, and yeah.
And that's one of the drawbacks of heavy feeding when using an Easy Pod or a Nexus.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't get me wrong, there's nothing can go wrong with them apart from the pipe splitting and stuff, but you are held back in the summer, like you can't go mental with heavy feeding and stuff as much as you'd want to. You can't really go. I mean, the height of summer I was doing 4 kilos, but even then when I tried to step it up even a little bit, it wouldn't have it. That's why I put an extra 50 litres of K3 in last summer, just in case that would help. But I think it's the mechanical section that lets it down.
Yes and no. I mean, you can negate it by putting less media in the easy section, thus giving you longer for it to back up and overflow.
That's probably why, because I'm using 30 litres of K3 in there instead of 19 or 18, 17 or whatever it is supposed to be. I've got 30 in there.
And you've got K3 in there?
No, in the easy section.
Yeah.
They come with it's either 16 or 17 litres, I can't remember, but I've got 30 in there. And then I've got 240 litres of K1 and K3 in the moving bed.
But in the easy, have you got K3? Did you say?
Oh no, just K, just K micro. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I have to say goodbye.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
And see,
See you later.
Part of the reason why the micro was created, even though it is a major pain in the ass, because it gets absolutely fucking everywhere. And it gets in places where you wouldn't even think you'd fucking find it.
Yeah.
Fuck knows how. But yeah, the whole point of the micro was so that they could get more media in the easy section. But at the same time, if you put too much in, you're also then shortening the gap of shit that can stop. Can you see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you've got 3/4 of your easy, once you've emptied it, it drops down of media. When that comes up, you've only got really that little bit underneath where the actual physical shit can actually stop.
Yeah.
Can you see what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's probably. I mean, I've got a little bit of an issue going on in a minute. Like I can. So when I fill the system back up again after doing, I clean it, and then I fill it all back up again. Let the water in the pond all equalise out without turning the pumps on and stuff. As soon as I turn the pump on, the bio side drops by about that much.
Mm-hmm.
And it stays like that. If I was to turn, and that's an EA pump, 10,000 running 40 watts. So I think that's like 44% or something. If I turn it up to 55%, it empties the bio completely.
On a 10,000.
Yeah, empties it completely. I'm waiting for Tim Waddington to come back to me about it.
That shouldn't be happening on a 10,000 litre an hour pump. So you've got something going wrong there.
Yeah, I checked the you got the transfer slots from the easy. They go like you put your hand right down inside it. You got little transfer slots that run into the bio. I've checked them to make sure they're not blocked out. I got like a little pipe cleaner thing. I put that down there periodically just in case it's that, and that doesn't seem to have helped, to be fair, at all. Yeah, no, it's a weird one. I can't get my head around it. I'm toying with the idea of. It sounds a bit silly. I've had that Nexus 220 since 2015. I'm toying with the idea of going for a 220 plus because it's newer.
Now,
Only because it might be different. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
I had Becky and Liam, the koi couple, round this weekend, and we were having this discussion about filtration, and Becky has it in her head that they were going to get a Nexus. Want a Nexus, get a Nexus. And then when I actually got the tape measure out and showed her the footprint of a Nexus.
Oh, they're huge. Yeah, they're huge. I had 2 of them in there.
Absolutely huge. And then I took her down to Long Block and I went, there's my drum. It is actually smaller than the footprint of an Easy Pod.
Yeah.
You know, and once I explained to her that you could pretty much pick up a filter drum for the same price you pick up the second-hand fucking Nexus.
There's one on Marketplace in a minute. I've been looking at it.
I don't know about that.
It's 645 quid.
My old man's just sold his Nexus for 250 quid.
Yeah.
You're fucking joking.
No, why?
I bet whoever bought that is laughing their ass off all the way to the bank.
When I built that, when I built this pond, the first thing what I did, I don't know, Aaron might know because I was actually chatting to Aaron before I came onto YouTube. I had 2 Nexuses in the shed. 2 Nexus. I had a 200 and a 220, and they were split into a T into a pump that went up over the 2 Tempests, and then back into the pond via my inlets. And I got rid of one and got a Cetus sieve, replaced it with a Cetus sieve, and the Cetus sieve was too high compared to the Nexus. I didn't have a balance or anything between the 2 of them.
I was going to say, did you not have the...
Every time I dropped the Nexus, I starved the pump on the sieve.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up getting rid of it. Now I've just got the one. I've just got 220. That's it.
It's mad that because I've looked at the way that EA say it should be set up with a balance pipe between them, and it's not
mental, isn't it?
It's not the way that I would do that. If it was me, I'd have it off a skimmer line or something like that. But like I've always thought that the way that their diagram is to where you have that with they wanted to put a pipe to air, don't they, as well, a 4-inch pipe between them, and then a pipe to air, so it can balance between it. But surely, if they're fractionally out, it's gonna cause you issues, and you do seem to see a lot of them for sale, which
they're blooming great filters. They're really, really good at getting rid of everything that comes in. Like I had it on the bottom drain, and the amount of stuff that came out of it was unbelievable. It was catching.
But like Nexus, it's fucking huge.
Yeah.
Those CSGs are not fucking small.
Could you not have, right? Could you not have just gone Cetus sieve into a bio bin?
Could have done. But you'd need a pump from your Cetus sieve into your bio, and then you need a pump coming out your bio in. So you need 2 pumps. That's why I didn't go for it. I've got 2 pumps now, so it didn't make any difference. But yeah,
you just pump. You go from that pump over a shower into your bio, gravity return back to the pond.
Yeah, you can do it like that. Yeah.
That way, you're not like I've done in Long Block. You're not restricted on how high you can have your bio chamber. Then, can you see what I mean? Because my bio chamber actually stands about a foot higher than my pond. But because
how does your bio chamber return to your pond?
By gravity. Through 2 3-inch pipes.
Yeah, because they're above
the water.
Come in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My water comes through my bottom drain into my drum. It then goes from there into my pump, which pumps it up over the shower, which showers down into my K1 chamber, which then gravity returns back to the pond.
Yeah.
Right.
which is why my bio chamber is about a foot taller than my pond, which then gives me that extra capacity of plastic media in a small space. In a small space.
So I've got the Nexus. I'm thinking about getting a. Well, I'm not thinking. I'm going to get one. I'm going to get the Draco drop in for it. But I'm probably, like I said, I was going to get the 220 plus. So I'm probably going to get a 220 plus off the bottom drain, running Draco drum, and then I'm going to get my one that's in there, the 220. I'm going to have that running off my mid feed with another Draco drum. So that'll go over that Nexus will feed the shower, and then that other Nexus will feed the inlets I've got in there.
You know what you could do? You could just sell it all and just buy a combi drum.
It'd be cheaper.
Yeah.
Fucking space saved as well.
There's one thing that we've seen at my old man's house where the pipes was due to come up from the floor for his Nexus compared to this really tall combi drum he's bought. Like how much space he has in a very small filter room now.
To be fair,
he's gonna be.
To be fair, Aaron, I have been looking. I've been looking at the Draco C30, the new one they've got out, and the the one that Si from up North Coy's just bought, the Filtro.
Yeah, the premium.
Excellence. Yeah, he's got the Excellence 35, I think it is, or whatever. I'm thinking about getting the 25. Yeah, 25.
Them Combi Nex was recommended by Matt to me for the total literage of media that you can put in a combi one. And when I seen the Awaze, the Burton's, what was it, BD30 combi, and that stood next to it, how big the bio chamber was. Not just how big it was, how much media you could put in it, because although the Burton's one was quite low to the floor, so where the water level was, obviously that's how high it's going to be. So even though it was a big chamber, the water level sat quite low. It is quite a beast of a bio chamber, that, to be fair.
So that's why I was looking mainly at the C30 from the Draco, because they've got, I think that's 200, that can hold 250 litres of K1. I think it can hold more, but they recommend 250 litres K1. And if you speak to, is it Paul or Pete or whatever his name is from Draco, he can actually fit the bio bypass, so you can run your pump to your shower without affecting your bio, and then run your bio as slow as you want.
Right. Let me just answer this question. Gladiator 01. How many fish koi would you limit to a 4,000 litre pond? Mostly small size now, have one medium size and one large. That all depends on how much filtration you've got on it and how regularly you clean it and maintain it.
Yeah.
And then to answer...
How many small ones have you got? Because them small ones get big quite fast.
Yep.
Too small waste.
Everyone tells me I could always have more koi in my pond, but I stuck to a lower number because of my water volume.
But that's personal preference, though.
It is. My filter could have handled way more in there than what it was, but I just didn't want it to swing as much as what it would be in. How many litres are you at, Chris?
I don't know in litres. I've got 2,450 gallons. Don't know what that is in litres.
No, Rob, I don't. Doesn't affect it at all. And Philip King says you will use a lot more water with a drum. No, not necessarily. Not if you're not feeding your wash pump from the mains, then you can save water by putting your wash pump onto your clean side of your drum. So you're actually using pond water to clean the screen, of which a lot is overspray that ends up back in
the pond anyway. Yeah,
into the drum and the pond. So no, you don't. You don't. When you actually add it up, you know, to someone, say Jens, who's got a massive multi-chamber, that will take more water on a weekly clean than a drum will in the space of a week with the way it cleans, especially if you have it pulling from the clean side of the drum.
If I would clean it every week.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's correct.
I did a count up. I've got 18 tosi in there. Well, one of them's a chippy nissi, but I've got 18 tosi in there. And in there, I've got 24 fish now because I
100% scratch.
I couldn't help myself the other day. I went and collected two fish of a friend. One's a 56 centimeter Deutsch Karashi, and one is a 50 centimeter Deutsch Achiever. Down the bottom there somewhere, but yeah. But yeah, there's 24 in there. I'm
not familiar with the filter.
I think it's the pressure filter. I think it's the quite tall one. If I'm right, is it
the biggest pressure filter? I think.
Does it look like this?
I wouldn't be able to advise you on that really because I don't know the filter.
Oh, was he the 21,000 pump? And
does it look like that one on the right?
Yeah, on one of my old ponds, I had one of the 35. I think 35 on that one. That went in there and then into my Nexus, but that was years ago.
And Philip, yes, part of the hobby is cleaning your filters. Trust me, drums are not maintenance free.
No, but like I think it was expressed on Thursday night. There's certain aspects of the hobby where for people that do shift work or people that are like hard on mobility or get into where if it weren't for a drum, they probably won't be able to maintain a pond. Like they are fantastic. They really are. I'd love one. I really would, because the amount of times that I am out doing a week of earlies and I'm out the door at 3 a.m. and when I get back in, I'm so tired. I'm not going out to the pond to do stuff like that. It would be amazing to have one. It'd certainly be a relief knowing that I had an automated system. And don't get me wrong, I love going and standing out with the coffee and cleaning my filters.
Sure.
But, like, I would still be there. I'd just be doing something different.
Yeah.
Do you want me to type it in? I'm on my PC.
Yeah, go on in.
Oh, in fact, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Is that it? It's commented from you, Vince. I didn't know I could do that. I could wind people right up now, can't I?
That's right.
Well,
last year, completely redid the pond, increased total size of the pond, bigger pump, got quite into my pond koi. So I love them at the moment, but not quite at the stage drum filter any Mate, you wait till the bug really takes hold and the missus is going, are you going to come in from that pond at any time? Yeah. Hey, mate, honestly, my old pond, I had 2 fucking easy pods running on it. And when you're having, in the height of summer and they're feeding heavy and you're having to boil both easy pods at least 3 times to get them clean, not only does that take a hell of a lot of water out of the pond, it takes a hell of a lot of time to build the pond back up after the cleaning. And, you know, and I love my easy pods. I've still got 2 of them. So I still clean filters, but I proved it to Becky and Liam this Saturday. Almost 4 hours gone just cleaning a couple of easy pods and a homemade filter. Yeah. So having the drum on the main pond and only having to worry about the tempests, it's awesome for me. But I'm still having to do a weekly maintenance on the drum, because that, you'll be surprised how much biofilm will build up on them float switches in the space of a week. And that biofilm does start sticking the old float on them. And a couple of times I've come outside and I can hear the drum on a continuous clean. So fucking flick it off at the box, give the sensor a bloody good clean with the hose pipes, flick it back on, and it's good for another fucking 5 or 6 days. And then you get a build up on it again. So yeah, drums are not 100% automatic, and yet there is still stuff you need to do to them to keep them clean, without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, not as much as it would be for Jens cleaning out his brushes and everything else, you know. And after this weekend, that I did a first major clean on the filter on the Frankenstein pond, and I'm going to be making a few changes to my brush cartridge, purely because the amount of time it took to fucking clean it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm at that point in my hobby where, okay, I still enjoy to do a bit of filter cleaning, but I'd rather have my time elsewhere than spending most of it cleaning fucking easy pods and stuff.
You've got UV in your drum, haven't you, Vince?
Say again? You've got
your UV in your drum, haven't you?
I've got a UV in my drum, but no, it's not working at the moment.
Yeah, that size just put there. Oh, there he is. That's what's probably causing that.
Yeah, I have noticed a slight biofilm starting to build up, so I went out there with the old cordless pressure washer doobrey thing that I can just stick inside one bit inside the drum, and then just did that. But it's the first time I've had to do it since I've had the drum running, which is about 3 months now, 4 months, like that. So
afternoon, everyone.
Seen my Nexus and Easy Pod once with any problems. That's fucking awesome. But yeah, my Easy Pods needed cleaning so regularly because my pond gets fed heavy, especially when the water temperature dictates it and the fish want it. How we doing, Crafty?
Well, mate, you?
Yeah, man. I've got my roof over the top of the tow side tank finished, so
that's good. It's better than the one that you just put off, sort of, isn't it? That was your title.
Yeah, I sort of got a roof on. Yeah, it started fucking raining just as I started painting last night. So it's because of our bollocks. And then next thing I know, Liam's fucking behind me with one of my sheets of ply. Dumps out of the top and he's like, there you go, you can carry on painting now. So that was why I had a roof, sort of. I had all the woodwork in, just didn't have a chance to get the perspex in across the top. We started this morning and it started raining and then we waited, and then it was a case of, now fuck it, we can just get on. We wet and got on with it and it's done now, so chuffed to bits. One piece of decking away from finding out how much it's going to cost me for the glass doors for that one then, and then that's all the construction of my ponds done, apart from the roof over the main pond.
What have you been on with today, Craft?
I've been off today, mate. I ain't been very well.
I was going to say, you've been busy today.
The shop's been really busy. Yeah, I've been quite impressed because I had a massive migraine this morning, but then one of the other guys for the koi department also called in sick, so there was one guy on his own. So he must have got run ragged today, bless him.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, Larry, you'll meet him at the National anyway when we go up there, because he's going to join us for his first koi show. He's been working with us for 2 years now. But,
he's the one that's been doing your camera, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not very good at that. He's better at cleaning filters.
Who's this, Craft?
Little Harry G, we call him.
Harry. Is he the ginger lad?
No, that's he's left now. He works for ALF, who is an aquatic supplier. He moved away a bit further away from the shop, but that was literally on his doorstep. So, bit of a no-brainer for him to come to, rather than travelling 3/4 an hour. He has to travel 5 minutes down the road. So, fair play to him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so.
Definitely. I'd take a 5-minute travel over fucking 3/4 an hour any day.
There's a message on there from Gary Robson about putting a UV light inside a drum to help the biofilms. Right. It depends which manufacturer drum you've got, whether or not that's acceptable. Just be aware of that, because Oases are a no-go for that. They will literally start to develop small, tiny little pinholes over time. But if you go down Filtro, you can put them inside because their plastic, what they're constructed of, is UV safe. So
yeah,
just before you do,
that,
make sure you look at who the manufacturer is and whether or not it's acceptable to do.
The Oasis ones are like a big builder's bucket, aren't they, with a lid type material? I know
that's what they are anyway, isn't it? They're like,
that is basically, they look like one of them rhino buckets, don't they, with a lid on it, with a lot of stuff thrown in it.
I don't know what a rhino bucket is, mate.
Do you know them big buckets that you get from B&M with a pluggy lid on it? They just look like one of them.
See what they mix cement up in.
I'm saying you get a Burton's one, a filter one, and it's mitered. It's like a mitered, welded thing. When that is like a blown plastic bucket with a lid on it, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Say that again, Vince. Sounded like alien.
Very expensive bucket.
No, I know what you mean. The way they're constructed, they've been mitered and welded, plastic welded, and everything else.
But the ones,
no, they're more of a preform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Now I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, they just look like, do you know them big clear plastic tubs you get in B&Q with a clip-on lid? It's that type of construction, isn't it? I'm not saying it's bad, but a lot of them type of materials are not UV stable, are they?
No, no, they're not. But what is quite surprising is that you can even, for the lights of Nexus EA, they are UVC safe in its entirety, it's built from the same material as what the original UV casing was made from. So you can actually go up a level in them as well, and go into the. And you have to excuse me because I've got a banging headache, but I can't think of what they're bloody called. The other UV clarifiers, amalgams. Thank you.
Yeah,
they're also amalgam safe as well. People don't realise that. The problem that you have if you go down that route with EA is where you actually put it, because the moving bed is on the outer ring, which means anything coming in and anything going out is the only two places really you can put it and make a difference. Okay, this is obviously, is that amalgam?
No, it's not amalgam. No, it's just a 35 watt UVC.
Is that the one out of the Easy Pod?
No, it's one that I made up myself. It was an All-Pond Solutions. You know, this stainless steel All-Pond Solutions ones.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I just took the ballast off the back of it, sealed, basically like screwed the because they got the quart sleeve on them, and yeah, just made like a little like plastic bungy thing that stops water from getting inside the quart sleeve. And then just drilled a hole in the top, put a 3-inch pipe down with a slot in it so the water can come through, and then just drop that down inside it. I did do a video on it a little while back, but yeah, it works fine. It works better. I had a.
Will now explain to me, Chris. Sorry to cut you off. That now explains to me why your outer ring is dropping at 10,000 litres an hour.
Probably, actually, to be fair, I didn't know.
You're restricting the flow into.
Yeah, so I've got 110 pipe going into it, and then obviously I've restricted it down to 3-inch to have the sleeve for the UV to sit in, because I wasn't sure whether the UV would was not dematerialize, would affect the actual material of the Nexus. So I put the sleeve in for that reason, just in case it did. But I don't know. I don't know whether
you could physically just buy amalgams to screw, literally just like drop in the inlets.
Most amalgams are like that, Aaron.
Yeah, just literally just drop them in. And
do they not decay the material or the Nexus?
Not on a Nexus, no. They're all UV safe. And then that way you won't be restricting the flow coming in. It'll just be.
The reason why I know that is because I approach when the reps come into my shop, we talk about new things that are coming out and what I think would be better for consumers. I quite often put in. So one thing is that unlike an EA Nexus 220, 320, or you've got the Easy Pod with a built-in UV, which I really detest. I ain't gonna lie, because how they're situated, quite often when people screw the top UV element in, the wire connector twists and then ends up snapping or splitting, and then you lose the waterproof aspect to it, and then that renders it useless, and that's another part you have to buy. But they never brought anything out for a Nexus, which in my opinion, an amalgam in a Nexus that is ready for a Nexus, i.e. it's got somewhere to actually put it naturally, would be an absolute godsend. And again, it's not something that you need to buy as an add-on in your pipe work. It all goes with the flow rates, etc. Even better. And I mentioned the same to Oase, and my Oase rep that's been around since the time of dinosaurs with Oase has been working there for quite a number of years, over 20 years. He don't understand it either, but you cannot put any UV inside an Oase through that fear. But Oase are built slightly different in a way that I like to refer to them as the Apple brand in the koi world. because like everything Apple, you have to buy some Apple that goes with Apple to make it work, which is very similar to Oase. Even the fittings to a drum are also Oase measurements. So
yeah, Lee found that one out, didn't he?
I found it out as well, mate. It was a fucking pain in the ass, mate, trying to find something for the waist. You know, considering I work in a shop that's got every fitting known to man, except to Oase sizes. You know, I was doing my head in. I thought I was going stir crazy at the time.
Yeah, I know Carl at the farm, he goes and does pond jobs and stuff, and he's had problems with Oase fittings and whatnot.
They have the individual unit as well, don't they? Where you can put that, is it titanium or stainless steel?
Yeah, we've got one up in the shop. Yeah, they're excellent, mate. They are excellent. They're UVC clarifiers, and you can get them in 3 sizes off the top of my head. But for what they are an excellent bit of kit. They're a bit pricey, but that's ours, ain't. And for me, they do an exceptionally good job as well.
I tell you what I do like about the Oase ones, the way that the screens on the drums come off, so you could rotate a set and clean them, have a set off, put another set on in however long it takes you. It's not a long time, is it, to do that? And then have them cleaning while your pond's still operational.
Have you seen Phil from Telford Coy about 9 sets?
Yeah, but I know they're expensive.
They're very expensive, yeah.
Yeah, they're what are they, about 300 quid a set? Something like that.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it certainly lightens your wallet.
Yeah, and then you look at the Filtro drum to replace my drum screen with the high flow screen that I've got on there is what, 60 quid?
But can't be done in 15 minutes.
Yeah, it can.
Huh?
Yep.
They're a pain in the arse in comparison, to be fair.
In comparison to ease, yeah, because you've got little toggle clips that clip the Oase one into place.
Yeah.
But 60 quid as opposed to 300 quid, and what I'd rather. And Simon's got one as well. It's an easy job. I had to put mine in on mine. Didn't take long.
Yep. Oh no, we run them as well. If you just put the two side by side, my preference is the Oase. It is easier to stage manage rather than stripping it all down and putting it all back up. You know,
yeah.
You know what? It's dead easy just to take a set off, put a new set in, and then go away and clean. I mean, what we do is we remove the elements, and then we don't use brick acid. We use filter screen clean, which is cheapest chips to buy, and it's fish safe. You know, and that's one thing guys need to consider is whether it's fish safe or not. Right, because it only takes one minor mess up to make your pond completely knackered. So it's always better to pay just a few extra quid, right, and actually buy something that is designed for the job, which is brick acid. You know, there are other alternates on the market, but as a dealer, you know, you don't take them short steps. You can't.
No. And like I say, as a dealer, you know, you'd expect it to be in that way for you because it's one, ease and speed.
Absolutely.
Time is money.
Yeah. Time should be everyone. Time is money for everyone, though, right?
Yeah, but some enjoy taking that little bit longer to do a job.
I just wish there weren't drums. It's the bane of my life at work.
And why is that?
Because of the amount of failures that you see, irrespective of what make it is, they all fail at some point, and they'll fail at the most. Like when you go on holiday and all your fish die, it's always one of them points it will fail when it's most critical not to fail.
Yeah.
Albeit Oase's customer service is always excellent. But getting hold of some of the stuff can be quite tricky across the board. because if you don't hold spares and repairs on your books, it means it's got to be an order replacement, and that in itself can be a bit of a pain in the backside at times because you've got so many different elements that you're relying on, i.e. the manufacturer, the supply, the wholesaler, the logistics, and then the customer, i.e. us, before the consumer then comes. And then sometimes it's the wrong part that gets ordered by somebody somewhere, including the consumer, thinks it's that. And it then turns into another thing, like when you've got an issue with your car, you're having to actually bracket what the problem could be before you actually find the problem. So that in itself is really difficult. And it's, for me, one thing that always doesn't get mentioned is having a backup pump and filtration set, which is probably one of the most important things that any koi hobbyist can have, because if they do have a failure, especially the people that run drums, having a backup is so important, because if your drum goes down and it's off for a week, right, you've got to do a huge amount of water management to keep your fish nice and secure and healthy. And that is harder than cleaning any filter. So, it's something that's worth having, even if it's like a pressure filter, but then you're still going through something that's not necessarily going to be seeded enough to cope with the bio demand that's going through it. So, but it's still something worth considering.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I set my filter up the way I did, and that is with both the skimmer and the bottom drain going over the shower and returning back by gravity through the bio chamber. So then, no matter what happens, if I get a pump go down, the main filtration is always in use.
The other thing for people building a pond is how they set up their electrical components from the distribution board, for example. I see so many people running a whole pond setup which draws so much energy usage that if something goes, it turns everything off. Right. So actually,
we were speaking about this before. Jens has got 2 circuit breakers with 50% on each of them.
Yeah, the way that I've set mine up is my distribution board is set up so I can literally, if one fuse goes, I've still got pumps running elsewhere. Right, because it's the air pump that generally is the issue. Right, so running a couple of air pumps, so if one goes off, one's still on. Banging.
Question for Crafty from site up North Koi Pond. If someone was to buy a pump for backup, how would the warranty work with that if you didn't use it from a year or two after purchase?
Okay, so your warranty is always from the date of purchase. Okay, so even if it's sealed in a box with the with the receipt, if it was 3 years later when you then tried to plug it in and it didn't work, your warranty's gone pretty much. Right, so it's the consumer rights states it's from the date of purchase. Now, what we have some smart customers try and achieve at times is that they will bring their pumps back a couple of weeks before the end of warranty or even the guarantee to then do a replacement for them to bring it back another couple of weeks before that year's up to then try and get a free replacement again. So when you actually bring them back to the replacement still falls under the warranty of the original purchase. It can quite often lead to some
frustration. Not from when they replaced it.
Yeah, because it's savvy, but if you get it to the right people that don't know consumer rights, etc., as every retail shop should, because it works in their best interest too, it can be quite costly. So
yeah.
Can't beat a Nexus. Now to go wrong in them.
You know, but no,
we go flip cycle back to where we started with the Nexus.
No, Nexus do go wrong. Don't get me wrong, and they have their problems, and I think that's been highlighted a couple of times with how flows work and stuff inside them. If you haven't got them set properly, whether it be at pump or at gravity fed, they're a lot more simple to get right than a drum. And drums setting up have some bloody right issues, I can promise you that. But once they get working, and they can pretty much be self-reliant for a long time with a minimal amount of maintenance and power. And like, people know I'm not a big drum person, but they have got their place for certain elements, like heavy feeding, for example. It's amazing, you know, the amount of stuff that it can pull out your system. But ultimately, for me, part of what makes a Nexus so good is that shit does stick around inside a Nexus, and it does provide you with enough food for your biomass as well. It's like there's a constant something there. You know, they're not for me yet. They've got a place. And another good thing about a drum is, like what Aaron was saying, if it fits your lifestyle, it's really good, right? Yeah. The problem is if you're not about and they go wrong, it's really difficult. Nexus is flow rates can be a right pain in the ass, especially outer rings dropping down for whatever reason. You know, setting the right flow rates, flow values. The difference in the flow values as well between drum and Nexus as well is something that's to consider. Another good thing for drums is you can have multi-ports actually running into them, where you really shouldn't do that with a Nexus because it fucks it right up. The amount of flow value coming from each drain is, well, you'll get one what I call a master server, i.e. the shortest one to the Nexus will be the main pull in your pond. Anything else away from that will be a slave to it, and you won't get the same pull values. But if you was to put that together in its own filtration system on its own pump, you will, you know, you can combat that. But then buying two Nexus 220s or two Nexus 320s is still cheaper than a lot of the drums out there. You know, the difference.
But you know, when you're saying that one pulls more than the other, can that be balanced with valves?
Yeah, you can balance with valves, Aaron. But you know, how do you measure how that's working, mate?
Oh no, I'm just saying, if this is hypothetical, that if you had one that's further down the pond and one's a meter closer, if you turned it 10%, would it make
it swing? It will swing it. Yeah, but then you're going to start then playing with the flow values as well. That's what you've got to remember. You know,
obviously a 4-inch flow meter is absolutely mega bucks.
Yeah, they're not cheap. The reliable ones aren't cheap anyway. You can get some cheap shit on the market. You might as well blow into it to it'll spin faster than what it should and all sorts. Yeah, it give you false readings, basically, some of the cheapest shit.
Sorry, I'm just trying to read Mick's question. Comment. Always had a Newport pump in the cupboard. It must be.
Yeah, it's as a spare. Yeah, I've got about 4 in my garage. I think it's like where I've just changed over the years. It's like, you know, buying second hand as well. I've just bought, when I've bought a job lot of second hand stuff, there's been stuff in it that I've never used. Works.
Yeah.
Keep it as a spare. You never know when you need it, eh? And I've got two ponds at home. Not a lot of people realise that, but I have. You know, so I'll run through
the amount of stuff that I've given away over the last year and a half, 2 years. It's absolutely crazy.
I don't give nothing away, mate. I'm tight as a duck's backside, me.
Hey, mate, I when it comes to this, I mean, back when I started, you know, if it wasn't for the generosity of people like Mark Davis and everyone else that helped me out back then, I wouldn't be in the hobby like I am now. So my attitude is, if I'm not using it and it's there and someone else can make a use out of it, well then you're welcome to have it, you know.
But just... for me, Vince, right, you never know what's round the corner, right? Especially
I still keep my stuff, my bits for what if, but yeah, my days of hoarding stuff now is gone. If someone can make use of it, then if I can take it away, it's out of my head. Then
I must have 600 quid's worth of pipe fittings in a couple of bags in my garage. Number one, from when I built my pond. Number two, when I then started adding a couple of bits on. Number three, when I then built my bigger pond. It's like all little bits, and I could buy myself a car with the amount of stuff that I've got that I overspent on.
Hey, you'd probably be able to pay a renderer to finish your fucking pond for you.
Hey, mate, there's nothing. Don't you start telling me about renderers. I'm looking at my pond now, you know. It looks perfectly fine, mate. The water's still inside it. I'm happy with it. It is getting done this year, actually. We're having quite a lot of work done. I think the first week of May in the garden, so we're actually getting the patio that I've had for 12 months laid as well. So all the finishing touches. Nice little Tory gate's been designed to go up, to go over the little bridge that goes between me pond and me raised out Acer bed. And then we're doing another. I want to build a little tea house down at the bottom of the garden. The missus don't know that, but I didn't. Yeah, that's what I'd like to achieve.
That frying pan nearly came at you fast then.
Yeah, that's all right. That's why I've got a headache.
Yeah. Right, I'm taking Leo out. I promised I'd take him out at 7:30, so I'll see you guys in a bit.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to round this up anyway. We've been going for about 2 hours now. Bloody hell, time flies, doesn't it? So, yeah, I would like to say a massive thank you to everyone joining along. Everyone out there, hope you have a good evening. A massive thank you to Aaron. Huge thanks for Jens over in Australia for coming on and joining us. Who else did we have? Tony's been and gone. So don't forget to give Tony a subscribe. Chris down there is Brand Family Summit Koi Adventures. Such a fucking mouthful, it gets me every time. Don't forget our Crafty Koi from down there, Crafty Koi and Perfect Aquatics. As always, guys and girls, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that shit. I've been Twisted Koi. You lot out there, you lot are always great. And I will see you.
Don't end it yet.
In a couple of days.
There's an elephant in the room I just want to address, Vince. All right. Last week, all right, I came on and I said some things, all right, that may have been taken in the wrong context.
Yeah.
All right. So, number one, I'll apologize to anybody that thought that I was saying you are not welcome at the Koi shows. It is the complete opposite. All right. There was a video that dropped on another channel today that I listened to. All right. And there are some remarks on there that echoed what my thoughts are. Okay. I want to bring up one little thing that isn't nothing to do with you, Vince, or anyone. Remarks that are made publicly on people's Facebook or YouTube or whatever, all right, that are aimed at individuals that are rude, do not put them out there. It's not about slaughtering anyone out here or making personal rude jibes or comments. You don't know them person reading it. You don't know what they go through. You don't know the stresses they're under, etc., etc. Right? Yep. Speak to them personally, all right? Because I promise you, anything that I said last week was not aimed at anybody, all right, individually, right? It was based on ensuring, in my opinion, how people will get the best out of showing their koi, actually. And when you look at, and I'm not going to go down a big thing, Vince, mate, for the purpose of anything. I just want to apologise to you if that's how you felt, because I didn't want you to feel that way, and that's not how it was meant to be. All right.
It did come across that way a little.
Well, it shouldn't have. all right, because that's not what I was getting at. I wasn't using you as a ramrod for anything. This is a general observation from somebody, all right, and I'll use Busy Bee's comments, right, that knew fuck all about this last year. And no, I'm not a UK koi guru, but one thing I am is somebody that bothers to sit on their ass week on week on week and share my experience and my knowledge, and I put it all back to you guys for free. There is nobody out there that works as hard in the social media scene from the trade aspect as me. Nobody. Whatever dealer comes on other people's shows to give a little bit of support. No,
I can't comment on that one because I don't.
You don't need to, Vince. All right, but that's my personal back at you, and I'll name and shame you because it's unfair what you said. All right, but one thing I have done is surrounding myself with people in Japan, people in the UK that have got a lot of knowledge and expertise. I share information that I have found out, and it comes from some of the best people on the planet to do so. And that even goes back to Japanese breeders who I purchased from. All right, so please don't be so rude. All right, next thing on top of this, all right, one thing here, learn if we got more people that are a bit worried about showing the fish, go into a smaller club, all right, because they haven't got the support network, Vince, like you were bagging and transporting the fish. That's the bit that people tend to have the biggest issue with, believe it or not. Well, actually, going to these smaller clubs will give you a little bit more because you're not on such a busy center circle. It's not as busy, so therefore you're able to take things in more. And if we can grow the smaller clubs by 5 or 10 vats, right, then that starts to generate more interest, bigger shows. Every show becomes a bigger show year on year on year. That means that the experience there will get better and better and better and better. It's not just about the national. That's what I was trying to come across. But actually, you'll take more away from a smaller club and learning what you do before you hit the center stage at the national, where you are surrounded by some giants in the show world. All right. I'm not saying anyone's a snob. All right. But you are up against people that have been doing it for year on year on year on year. And there's more at the national than anywhere else. And that's my point. Okay. So I just wanted to say that to you, Vince, and address you because that shouldn't have come across that way. It's about supporting the hobby and moving it forward. My views may not have supported your views, but it doesn't make them the incorrect views, mate, either.
But like Susan said to me afterwards, everyone is entitled to an opinion.
Absolutely, But I didn't humiliate anyone individually.
No.
I certainly didn't believe I was doing that to you, although be it, if that's how you took it. You should have brought it to me rather than rant on your YouTube video, mate.
Yeah, I know. I'll be totally honest. The one thing that gripped me was learn your craft.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn.
Yes, there is.
I didn't say that about you, Vince, did I?
No, but as far as the show scene is concerned, there is a lot for me to learn. But as far as koi and koi appreciation is concerned, I think I know enough to say that I know my craft to a degree where I can chuck my hat in.
Okay, so I'm going to spin that on purpose, right? Because I'll say this in the nicest way, right? A pond fish is not a show fish.
No.
Koi appreciation, when you're looking at general aspects of how good a fish looks, is not the same way as you look at a show fish. And that is what I'm saying when I say learn your craft. The lead up, right? So there's tricks out there that the show people use to develop white skin, to bring sumi on, to develop skin condition by using water tricks that they use For example, cooling water by pumping it through a chest freezer on a coil to bring their temperatures of the water down for a reason, right? These are the sort of people that you get up against in the koi show, right? You're not going to learn this stuff until you become somebody that's regular on the koi scene, right? And then start to, that's what I'm getting at, Vince, nothing more. All right. So on top of that, all right, for me, where you show, Vince, all right, i.e. the categories and the size categories. And I was speaking to somebody about this morning, actually. If I'm honest, right, unlike Matt on the video, he is into his big fish. And it's nice to see big koi because they give you a bit of a wow factor. Yeah. Right? So someone coming to look around the vats will always take away that wow factor from them big fish. Yes, I like to see the big fish, but competitively, it's not easy to win a GC, but the competition that you're up against to win a GC is reduced by a huge margin, When you're showing size 1 to 5, right? So size 5, for instance, you've got 77 koi in that category to go to battle against, where in the GC, you could have 15 entrants, but only 3 that are really going to make the grade to actually potentially take that trophy, right? So the most exciting part of showing is in the lower end. Baby champion, for one, is because it's so affordable to a lot of people in comparison. There's a lot more entrants, but the competition's a hell of a lot stiffer. So therefore, taking the champion on that is by far a better achievement, in my opinion. Right, but that's just how I perceive it from someone, if you was to be a competitor, right? So learning what's going to take that baby champion, all them small little minor differences, all right, is not about koi appreciation. It's about knowing what the small little margins is that you need to take a cup. And there's a difference in that, right? So I'm not poo-pooing what you're saying, because your koi knowledge and appreciation is fine. But when it comes to showing, it's having those little clues that will take you a massive award and know what you're doing. What does Rich say? For most, it's about enjoyment. Yeah, I agree. But actually, if you're in a competition, a lot of people, it's about competing as well. I promise you that.
That's Susan messaging me. My dinner is actually ready downstairs, so I am going to have to call this an afternoon or an evening. Now I am looking at changing the time permanently, but I'm thinking of doing it on a Saturday evening instead. Going to be putting a poll out later, so look out for that one. As always, guys and girls, love you all. I've been Twisted Koi. He's Crafty Koi. You lot out there, you know you're great, and we'll see you in the week with a video. Later, guys.